Apparently I forgot to mention I'm a rookie YouTuber as well, and I may have forgotten to hit record on the first part of this video. We never stop learning now, do we? Anyway, you didn't miss much. Just doing a little bit of an outline here for the ear. I bought this Pro Series Flexcut when I was at chipping away, and I wish I had noticed it earlier because I would have said something, but the very tip of it is gone, and it looks like it's right from the factory like that, like it's polished over. I'll probably give her a call and see, but when I went online and looked at the rest, they all had a point, right? Like they all had that drop point to them, like this. But this one doesn't have a point. Hopefully you can see that. And not the end of the world or any stretch. But any excuse to go back in there. It was like Disneyland. If you're in southwestern Ontario or you're traveling through southwestern Ontario, roll into Cambridge and check that place out. It's not big, but it is like Legoland for adults. Unless you're an adult that likes Legoland more than carving, in which case it's nothing like Legoland. It's a carving store. Alright, now these guys, I'll just get this kind of frame to remind myself, but those dogs have a downward pointing snout at the end, and it's narrow, so I'm just swoop cutting up here. Let the swooping begin. Yeah, you can see he's got a little bit of a hedgy nose there, pointy nose. Okay, just a little reminder to myself so that you remember it too. If you're carving one of these dogs or anything similar to this and you have this tail piece ready to go, do it last. So this part, this grayed in spot, is all going to be gone. And I said, don't take that out because right now it's stable. I don't break it off. And then I'm like 80% done and I carved this thing out like an idiot. It really should have been the last thing. And as soon as I was like, oh, and I was just trimming the nose and I had my thumb on the end like this and I snapped the tail off like an idiot. I was like, you are definitely insane, my friend. Just insane. You told yourself that's exactly what's going to happen, and then you went and did it anyway because you're nuts. So I'm nuts. That's me. Okay, so my goal here is try and get the head in the right position. Sorry, not position. Basically get it the way I want it, and then I'll proportion the body. Proportion's the word I was looking for. I'll proportion the body after. Right? Yeah. So I'm going to go a little deeper in there so I can take a little meat off the side of that head. I said this is where this Flexcut's failing me because it doesn't have the point. And I actually rely on the point quite a bit. You get my point? Yep. Dad jokes are definitely not off limits. So tip your waiter. Yeah. See all this safety gear I have on? I bought a new glove. You might have noticed that I switch a little bit. I have this yellow glove that I bought, and I bought it when I was shopping at Chip 'n Away, because my existing gloves have all been worn through and have holes, like this thumb hole right here. And so definitely in the market for a new glove. And I went and bought one, and they only had one my size, and it was this yellow one. And I talked a little bit about it in the video where, like, what I bought when I was kind of showing my shopping trip, because I'm pretty excited about it. Still get excited just thinking about it. And, you know, it was about the safety ratings of gloves. 6 versus 4, and it's like what you can, how much you can slice into it before you actually cut through it. This hardness thing. So this yellow glove that I have is a 6. I'm assuming this is less, but this is a lot easier for me. It seems counterintuitive. I feel like I'm more tactile. It's a thinner glove, but it's clearly not going to be as highly rated as 6, but I can not cut myself so easily. The other thing about that other glove is it's got the rubber dimples on it, and I find everything I chip lands on my hand and sticks there like a long lost relative, which is also not a feature I'm interested in having. So I don't know. I'm struggling to enjoy the glove in practical application. How about that? Was that politically correct? So I think I'm gonna, you don't know what you don't know till you know. That would be a good shirt, wouldn't it? I think I'll be hunting for a glove more like what I have right now. I didn't see them at Chip 'n Away, but they were actually low on stock of gloves. So I'll keep an eye out when I'm sure they've probably been restocked by now, but they're a little bit of a drive, and I don't want to just be going there just for that. I have to find another reason to go. As much as it's 2 hours each way, so that's a little bit of a haul, no matter how exciting a place it is to just drive there for fun. Try and make it part of another trip. So I'm not 100% sure on my symmetry here, so I'm just going a little big on the ears, like the shape of the ears, so I can get them hogged in a little bit, and then when I look at it from the top, I'll be able to get a better idea of how out of whack I am, if I'm out of whack at all. I'm out of whack. Okay. You can see here, right? So this ear kind of comes, this is the center of this ear. This one kind of ends about here. That's where the curve comes up to. So I'm just going to slowly take a little bit off until it looks to be about the same. Because one of you awesome people made a comment about the fact that I always comment that my symmetry sucks, and told me to stop worrying so much about my symmetry because nothing in nature is perfect. So I've taken that to heart, and I just try and get close enough. And I heard a plastic surgeon once, I think about this now ever since that commenter said stop worrying about symmetry, nothing's perfect. A plastic surgeon said when they do breast implants, he said they're never going to be twins, but you'll know they're sisters. And that stuck with me. So now that's what is in my head, right? It's like, it don't matter, they don't have to be twins, but you should be able to tell they're sisters. So if the ears don't have to be twins, as long as they look like they're sisters, right? And the eyeballs don't have to be twins, as long as they look like sisters. So I'm finding that I'm being a little more forgiving with myself, and combined with the drive to just adapt and overcome, like let nature take its course and stop worrying so much. You know, like if I see something that inspires me in a carving, and I gotta go do that, or I gotta try something like that. I've given up on the it's gonna look exactly like theirs. I need to make one just like that. It's like, no, it's an inspiration. You do you. I'll do me. We'll all just be ourselves. And what kind of a day would it be if I did a carving where there wasn't construction, a dog losing his mind, a train going by? I'm gonna be silent and carve while this train goes by. I think sometimes they're paid by how many times they beep the horn when they come through my neighborhood. And the irony is, this train crossing by me has got rails that come down, it's got lights, it's got bells, and I'm feeling like if you're sitting on the tracks, at that point, that horn's not going to help. You're clearly not there by accident. It just feels overkill. Write me a stern letter to somebody. Alright, just took some of that factory carving off. Not too worried about the bottom at this point. Now let's have a little gander at it now. Alright, how are we doing here? So we got our ear. So I left it long. I'll be able to put the hairs on it. You know, I'm going to put curly hair on the ears. And we got a nose on there. There'll be an eyeball. Right? There's going to be the... Maybe back a little further here. There'll be a paw. And there'll be a paw here. A little bit more of a hawk, I think. Like a hawk. Alright. Good idea. The neck. They've got big chests, so I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Still leaving enough room for some hair. And I'll maybe hawk out a little bit of this, just so it has some shape to it. Why are you biting me? Everybody's biting me today. Alright, so I'm going to take a little bit more of a V-cut out of here for the neck. I'm going to take a little slice out of here right across on that before I get too deep into thinning it. Like I said, we're starting to get some profile. Very little. Just V-cutting my way into this. Just don't forget which one's top and which one's bottom. Good thing I did feet, huh? Good thing I did feet. Alright, I'm just going to do a little more of a swoop cut up on that side. And a swoop cut up on this side. You see me doing it? Couple cuts on one side, couple on another. Telling me I'm not trainable. Not consistent, but I'm trainable. We're getting there. Spot in between here where these ears would be coming down. You know, we're gonna V-cut these out. Okay. What could have been an accident just happened right in front of your eyes. I literally just lopped the tip of my finger. Go back and play that back in slow motion. Wearing gloves, non-event. Not wearing gloves, it's an event. All right, I'm just gonna do a brow line for these eyeballs here so I don't get overzealous. Alright, just gonna, you know what? Ready? Welcome to the carving rookie. I just put a brow line on the eyes. This is the feet. This is the chin. Now I've got the brow line on the chin. So clearly the brow line is on the wrong side. We're gonna have a very complex Dachshund. You know, it's a new breed. She's a breeder. Maybe she'll understand that, you know, it's one of those upside down dogs. So I'm just gonna trim this off, because if we do anything good here on the Rookie Carver, or the Carving Rookie, I can't even remember the name of my own damn channel, the Rookie Carver, we can adapt. You know, we can adapt. We can figure it out. Luckily, we left ourselves some extra meat on here for just such an emergency. So, what a dumbass. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright. But we've done okay here. I don't feel like we went backwards. You know, we got room to play a little bit here, so let's put the eyes on the correct side, so we don't make that mistake twice now that we've removed them from the chin. Okay, there we go. All right, now that we have the eye shelf on the top of the dog, which I highly recommend, I mean, but you do you. We're kind of taking it off there. There's a little bit of a cut. I'll get into that with a better knife when the time comes, but okay. So we're getting there. You can see it. I don't even know how long we've been carving now, but you know, been so many interruptions, it's hard to tell. But we're having a good time. We're having a good visit. That's got to count for something. You know, my buddy Jay, he's blessed where he lives for a couple reasons. One, he lives right around the corner from chipping away, which sucks for me, but it's good for him, and it's good for me if I need anything. He's always willing to go pick stuff up for me, which is nice. He lives there, but also in his neighborhood, he is in a carving club where they meet, I think weekly, but they meet, and you know, there's people of all different you know, ages and stuff, and skill levels, more importantly than ages. I don't know why I said ages. The reality is you know, different levels of skill, and they all just do their own thing and carve and share their experience and talk and get to yammering. And that's really the only thing that's missing here with our little carving club. You know, there isn't one in my neighborhood. I don't have a carving club in my neighborhood. I live in too small a community, apparently. And until I, you know, get other people hooked on carving so I have enough to make a carving club, I'd put some feelers out initially, and nobody really bit. I got responses like, oh, I know a guy who is a chainsaw carver. It's like, I don't want to know if you know a guy. I want to know if you want to carve. You know, and then we can work through the details of where we're going to carve, and you know, where we're going to meet and that kind of stuff. But we didn't really go anywhere. It was just, I know a guy who, or I'm interested, and then crickets. It was like trying to sell something on Facebook. Is it still for sale? And then, yeah, it is. And then you never hear from them again. Exactly like that. Exactly like that. So, yeah. All right, we're coming along. We got ears. All right, welcome back to the dawn of a new day. I am wearing a different shirt just to trick you. It actually is a new day. I got my morning coffee. So this is the OG Dachshund where I lopped the tail off. Like I was saying, just so you have that comparison, leave it like this till the very end. So yeah, so I've marked out a few spots on here that we're gonna trim up. We're gonna define his body shape a little bit more. And then I think we just start putting fur lines in him with a V-gouge and see how that goes. So let's get back to it. What will be our weapon of choice today? We've got the detail. I love this Badger State detail knife. It's only an inch long. Man, that thing is just great for getting into nooks and crannies. We'll just continue on. This is the one we were using yesterday. This is the Flexcut. I don't really remember what we were talking about. You know, it's like you guys just never stop talking. I'll just carry on. Just carry on my day. While I was sharpening my knives this morning, one of the things I got thinking about was I went and looked at, remember we were talking about, I know we were talking a little bit about Johnny Layton's video on his 7 things and like learning to sharpen a knife, and I was like, all right. And he had a link, a little, in his video there for how he sharpens his knives, like right from, you know, like when they're too far gone to strop back to life. So he's got this diamond kit set that he uses, and he does it really, really good. If you watch this Johnny, mad props. That's a phenomenal, just a phenomenal video on illustrating how to get this all done. So taking a knife from dull to sharp using diamond blades, and I really liked it. So it got me thinking about that. I don't think I have anything that's in that state just yet, but when I do, I'll feel a lot more confident about it. And one of the things he said was, use a knife you don't like. And Johnny's been carving a while, and he's got quite a collection of knives, but yeah, he's like, yeah, just find a knife you don't like. If you only have one knife, then that's the knife you're going to use, right? If you need it. So anyway, so then he proceeds to grab his OCC knife, which is my favorite knife, and uses it. And all I was thinking, now I know that he's got experience with it, so that's why he didn't, what he wasn't saying was the OCC knife was the knife he didn't like, but he's got such a great collection of knives. You know, it's like whoever dies with the most toys wins, and I think, you know, Johnny might be up there, so as far as a contender for first place. Oh, get along, little doggy. You got some shape. Swoop a little more of the back there. A little swoop swoop. Now I really like the progress I was making on this one, so I'm kind of using it as my guide. Yeah. So I ended up with this really cool little pig snout on here, so we're going to take that off, because we're not making a pig, we're making a Dachshund. All right, and we got to do that just a little tapered down nose a little bit that they're known for. And they definitely don't have wide noses like that, but they do taper down. This one's a really great visual for it. Now we'll just thin this out a little. The snout, it's a pretty straight shot to the nose snout, so I'm just gonna go straight. Now, you know, this is a character carving of a Dachshund, so we're not really you know, we want people to know it's a Dachshund, and that's pretty easy to do when you talk about a wiener dog, because it's a big, long, honking dog. If you know, you're calling it a Dachshund or you're calling it a wiener dog, at least people know you're on track. So this is a pretty forgiving carving in hindsight, because even if you completely ruined the face on it and the ears and did everything wrong, like I gave him Doberman ears, people would be like, oh, that's a Dachshund, because it's a big, long dog. Or a Dachshund crossed with a who knows what. Alright, now I do want to give him a little more of a scoop under that chin, and that is not the easiest to do with a big long knife, so maybe we can pull that off with this Badger State detail knife. I only bought one Badger State knife, and when I was at chipping away, and it was this detail knife, because I was kind of short when it came to a small little knife to do nice detail cuts with, and this felt right, and I have zero regrets. This thing is the shizzle. The shizzle, the shizzle. Trying to be a little more cautious of how deep I'm carving in, because I tend to get a little overzealous, and all of a sudden I've got more marks and slices that I have to clean up after the fact. So, gentle. And that's like you see these guys just like whipping through, like whoop, and there's so much things that I wonder if they even realize, you know, that they just learned over time, like how much pressure to put on the knife, exactly how deep they're going to be going when they do their cuts and their V cuts and stuff. And then there's, you know, me, it's just, and I was like, wow, that was too deep. I'm gonna do a V cut, and all good times being had by all. So all right, I apologize if my hand's in the way here, but we're making progress there. We got a little more of a snout shape, which is good. What I'm doing right now is I'm flushing out in between the ears, so you can see that big chunk of neck. So I'm gonna make it, the ears pop a little bit. Really got to keep an eye on these darn GoPros. So I got the new GoPro. It's got a front display, and I thought, oh, now I'll know, because there's a flashing red light and I can see myself. That's awesome. For about a minute, then that screen goes dark on me. And yesterday, right towards the end, thankfully, of what we were carving, all my best tidbits of wisdom I said, and then I realized that it decided to just stop recording. I've carved out the top side behind the ears of the collar. The collar goes underneath, right? I'm gonna lighten up right in here, just to make more of a chest, like this area here that you can see is grayed out. Just give them a little more of a chest there. I'm going to thin this out a little bit so the feet are a little more prominent, and obviously I got to make it a little deeper between the feet. I'm just going to gouge these out. It's going to be gouge time. We talked about it yesterday, but I'm going to maybe just use my V gouge and see how good I can get, and then we'll work on hair. Smooth out this honk, or pork chop as I like to call it. Every time my dog's got his hanging out there, we grab his chicken legs and his pork chops. He's a victim of circumstance, that boy. Boy's got long gams, and we have a good time with him. Trying to grab him on him. Anytime he's sitting still. Keep an eye on that camera. You guys can tell me when it cuts out, you know, that'd be great. Okay, we're getting close. We're getting close. Ear might be a little pointy over here. I'll just knock the ear down, because the ears don't really sit above the top of the head. Just taking those hard points off. Alright, I feel like we're getting nice and close now. How many times have I said that to you? Gouge time. Using my file, PFEIL Swiss made gem. And I'm not going too deep. The whole point here wasn't to create a monster, just to create some space between those. I love the control that you can get with these palm tools. And like I said, it's not, so here's a V tool, and I'm finding, and am I the only one who does this? I like to sometimes use the flat edge where it works and just use that to clean spaces out. Yeah, see that? Pretty good. Pretty good. It's a pretty versatile tool, these V-gouges. And I upgraded to this 15, which I'd like to say I understand, but my other one is much smaller, doesn't have a number on it. This is your opportunity to make them anatomically correct if you want. I'm gonna go with androgynous dog, personally. But if that's your sense of humor, you got opportunities right here, depending on what you remove. Just don't put it on the carving channel on Facebook. You'll be judged. I won't judge, I'll judge it too, but not the way those guys judge. Right. Okay, I've exceeded the capability of that V-gouge in that space. Alright, don't do the tail. Do not do the tail. It's not time yet. You'll do something stupid. It's not tail time yet, right? Okay. Just gonna use this to kind of outline that hawk a little bit. still with me. That's a good sign. Leg, just a little more. So you see this side's in a little bit, this side's not. See the detail. Hopefully this comes through in the thing, and it shows how he did it. And he's just got a V-gouge, and he's just going, and I'm gonna try and incorporate that into this hair thing. That I'm gonna try. It's either gonna ruin the dog or it's not. So yeah, I have a V-gouge in my hand and I ain't afraid to use it. So I feel like maybe the ear is the place to start. So the ears are you know, wavy fur like that. So let's see what we can and can't do. Just trying to avoid straight lines. Because the last thing I'm going to do is that tail. The very last thing I'm going to do. And it's not going to be as thin as the tail on this other guy, because it's a long hair, hairy dog tail. So it's going to have a little more of this kind of a play on it. What I'm trying to do is just take any spots that are flat in here and make sure that they have some type of a groove in them. Right? Even in between some, making shorter cuts. What do you think? I don't hate that. It definitely illustrates a furry ear. So I got to do the top of the ear and down the side a little bit here, but all right. I don't. What do I always say? I don't hate that. Not hating it's a good thing. Because, like most of us, would have died if it dropped. It dropped and that freaking tail broke off, or an ear or something. Like, good news, we didn't break the tail off. This time we lost an ear. So, yeah. So I'm just going to do the inside of the ear here a little bit as well, for continuity. My brush is way in the house, like 10 feet away from me, where this is a great thing to can see what you're doing. Smaller guy out here. See if it's a little more forgiving. Not that anyone's really going to be looking at the inside of the ear, but inevitably. I'm gonna look at the inside of the ear and say, look at that, really cool. You know, nice wavy ears on the outside and bald on the inside. All right, we got an ear done. Back to the big kahuna here. Starting at the top. Now bird guy, Reef, and I apologize for not remembering his name completely here, but R-E-I-F, doesn't talk. He just, it's written and he just carves and you watch. And he's only got 2 videos. But yeah, they're phenomenal. And he kind of feathers is how he does the feathers, just remarkable. He draws out like feather groupings on a bird, and then he just uses these really controlled fine line carves with the gouge, just like, and then, and when it's all said and done, it looks like chaos when he's got it drawn up. And then when it's all said and done, you're like, man, the detail of that is just remarkable. So, you know. And then the cardinal carving guy, he burns his wood first. Like, he does all the burning. And that's why I said that the paint thing was interesting to me. What I originally searched on YouTube, where I came across him, was I keep seeing these carvings with glass eyes in them, and they always feel like they're not just stuck on, they're kind of like behind, you know, like they're behind the wood somehow. And I'm like, how do you put something round behind wood? And it turns out there's something called quick wood putty, and it dries up, and you yeah, you got a little bit of time, and you put it in the hole, and then you put the glass eye in it, and you push it, and then the putty squeezes out the outside, and you just clean it a little bit, and it leaves a little bit of that membrane, which gives it the effect that it's sunk in the eye. And I was like, what? Love that. And then, so it answered the question that I had, but I was also intrigued by this bird, so I went back a few videos, you know, where he was doing a little bit, and then I moved forward into his painting, and it was good. I actually painted a really cool butterfly that yesterday. I was quite pleased with it, and I used some of his painting techniques. He took this cardinal, and you know, everyone knows a cardinal's red, and the first color he did, he had all the feathers kind of burned on it, but the first color he put on it was a white wash, and the whole bird was white, right? And it was like layer after layer after layer of like colors, and that you're like, real, you know. And then he got the red on it, and the orangey red, you know, the difference between the back, and it was like so perfect. And then he goes and mixes up a blue wash, like a cobalt blue wash, and starts painting on top of all the red on the cardinal. I was like, why would you do blue? Like, who would think of blue? And man alive, does that look good. Does that look, it looks so good. He did such a phenomenal job. So he clearly not his first cardinal, and that part's pretty cool. Yeah, if you want to kind of see somebody, the art of the possible with colors, when you really know your colors and what you're trying to achieve, right? Remember I talked about the beard with Doug Linker, just that little bit of a whitewash, and how much it's changed what I do. All right. Trying to decide how much tail action I'm going to trim off here. So maybe I'm just going to put the fur on the tail, and then I will trim it appropriately after. I'm just using the edge of this V-gouge to kind of get it even, the same size, a little less blotchy. All right, cross your fingers, here we go. Yeah, you know, it's good to leave this backing on here because there's quite a bit of pressure on a tail, and this is you know, kind of across the grain, right? Like the grain's running this way, I'm cutting across the grain, and that's a perfect opportunity for it to break again on me. So I'm glad my wisdom kicked in only after the second attempt. I'm a quick learner. I'm not a quick learner. I learned my best by the errors in my ways. Sometimes I like to make the error 5, 6, 26 times and then be like, oh yeah, man, see, you learned. And we talked a lot about, Johnny Layton is my week inspiration, because he really stood out. I had a few great inspirations this week, but he stood out. That whole skills you need and all the different hobby stuff, and that whole learning to sharpen your knife thing, it resonated pretty good. So, all right, how are we doing? What's that? I'll end up trimming that tail a little bit, but nothing crazy, because I want it to be hairy. But I'm not trimming it right now. I gotta stop gouging so deep. Channeling my inner reef. It'll look like chaos and then it'll look good. That's what I'm telling myself. Just carving in the direction that fur grows. These palm ones, the first gouge that I bought, I don't know what anyone was thinking, but it looked like a screwdriver handle on it, and it's impossible to control. I don't know. Since buying the this one, I bought that first kit chipping away. It's like, why would you ever use a straight handled one? It just felt like trouble. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll see a use for it. Obviously, it goes in the tool kit. It's not in my default kit by any stretch. Okay. You know what? What do you think? We're getting there. It looks hairy. Everything's coming together. Everything's coming together. Yeah, we're getting a hairy dog. So I'm just going to continue doing that. I'm going to not torture you and make you watch the whole thing. I'll just continue to do this, and we'll come back when I've got the lion's share of it on and I'm cleaning the tail up. But I did a spine line, just a little light V-gouge in the spine line to help me direct the hair. So just a little more of that kind of action. Small cuts, kind of following the direction where hair would naturally lie, what I'm shooting for. The hair on the back isn't just an alfalfa part. It's if you don't know who alfalfa is, you're a young punk, and you need to go watch some Little Rascals. Gotta be on YouTube. Just gotta be. So the hair on the back is usually a little flatter, so I'm not too worried about making it twisty windy. It'll twist when I get into. The only thing I really worried about on the back was the neck. So I made the hair kind of goes back and then falls down. That's about as pro a tip as I can give. Petted a lot of dogs. Yep, she's coming along. Get along, little androgynous doggy. And I will not be carving anything on the underside of this dog. At this point, I just don't see the point of it. Okay, so that spine turned out okay. If you're wondering what this here is, this is an actual ring from the tree. So it's an interesting bit of character, which when I paint this, obviously it will be gone, but a couple times now I've looked at it and thought maybe I had a cut going through it, but you can see the ring changes over here. Yeah, I will do a little bit, just a few underneath the chin here. Just ever so lightly. Maybe to the collar. How about that? Just 'cause. Not because I have any plan or rationale, but just 'cause. I don't think I'm gonna touch the head. I like the head, just being flat and bald like that. That'll be a discretionary thing. I think it'll be too much. If I get crazy in there, you're not gonna see the detail of the eyes and that kind of stuff. Not that I plan on getting crazy with that detail. What are you doing now, Dave? What are you doing? Okay, I'm going down the spine and I'm angling my V gouge just over a little bit, just to take the sharpness of that spine line out. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. What do you think, doggy? Here's a DOG. So, the time has come, my friends. The tail is not going to be as skinny as the last tail, but it's also not going to be lopped off. Okay? We're not lopping it off. We are not going to lop the tail off. We're channeling our inner master carver. Do not chop the tail off again for a third time. Okay. Now in this example, because it's a bushy tail, I'm just doing that. And maybe this a little bit. Some of that action. I'll have to retouch it. You didn't see that. You didn't see any of that. I did not just cut the tip of the freaking tail off. Alright, you saw it. You saw it here first, kids. Yep. This time I didn't cut the tail clean off, but I did give it a little bit of a nip, but I think it's still passable. Jeez Louise. Now this is where I'll finish the job. Not a lot of pressure. Gentle, gentle, you animal. Now there are no shortage of outtakes, I'll tell you that much. That we're not going to outtake. We're just going to leave them in, because that's what we do. The good, the bad, the ugly. Alright. Now the million-dollar question. What to do about the eyes? What to do about the eyes? Do I do eyes? Do I just paint the eyes on? What do you think? Lost a little bit of definition on my collar, so I'll just do a little V cut in there and pop that back on. Okay. What I'll do is just put a shelf define the shelf a little more. A little more off to the side. I mean, it's not like I'm putting character eyeballs on this. They're probably just going to be 2 black dots, in all honesty, after I'm done painting. So maybe it's just the marking and the shadowing of the spot where the eyes will be. I don't know. I don't hate it. So I'm gonna call it. Aside from paint. Oh man, you're out of control. Why can you not you just said you called it. Maybe a little line with a small V gouge. Just a little one to define the mouth. A little bit. Okay. Up a little. The thing with these carvings, you just kind of go back and keep touching them, and every time you learn something new. I thought about that last night when I was painting. I was like, do you go back and fix stuff that you're like, man, just 2 little cuts would change that whole thing? But the answer is no, you don't. Don't go back. Leave those things to remind yourself where you came from. So there you go. There's my dog. I'm happy with it today. Will I be happy with it future me? Who knows? Anyway, I'm gonna fix this one up. But that's all we have for today. We had fun. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Drop me a comment. Pick on me for lopping the tip of that tail off as well. Whatever you want to do. I'm a big man. I got good shoulders, so give me your best. Anyway, have a great rest of your day.